Dr. Hyun-woo Park looked out at the stars through the window of his medical ship. The Compassion's light was moving fast through space, leading 11 other hospital ships toward a war zone. He had done this many times before, but something felt different this time. "Dr. Park, we will reach the Kepler system in 2 hours," said Nurse Captain Sojin Kim as she walked into his office. She carried a data pad with information about their mission. Hyun-woo turned away from the window. "How bad is it out there?" Sojin's face was serious. "Very bad. 2 alien races have been fighting for months. The Vorthek Empire and the Kalari Swarm are using terrible weapons against each other. Millions of people are sick and dying." The doctor sat down at his desk. He had seen many wars in his 15 years as a medical officer, but this one sounded worse than most. "What kind of weapons?" "Some type of disease weapon. It spreads fast and kills slowly. Both sides used it against each other, but now it is killing everyone, soldiers and children alike." Hyun-woo closed his eyes for a moment. He thought about his wife back on Earth and wondered if he would see her again. These missions were always dangerous, but they saved lives. That was what mattered. "Sir, medical engineer Taemin Lee wants to speak with you," Sojin said. "Send him in." Taemin walked into the office carrying his tools. He was young but very good at building emergency hospitals quickly. "Dr. Park, I have been studying the reports from the war zone. We will need to set up medical stations on 3 different moons around the planet. The fighting is too heavy on the surface." "Can you do it?" Hyun-woo asked. "Yes, but it will take time. The disease is spreading fast. We need to work quickly." Dr. Min-ho Choi entered the room. He was the team's expert on treating sick children. His face looked tired and worried. "I just finished reading the reports about the children in this system. Thousands of them are dying. Some are only babies." The room became quiet. Everyone knew that children were always the worst part of any war. They did not choose to fight, but they suffered the most. "We will save as many as we can," Hyun-woo said. "That is our job. We are doctors, not soldiers. We do not pick sides in wars. We heal everyone who needs help." The Compassion's light and the other medical ships entered the Kepler system 6 hours later. What they saw was terrible. 2 massive fleets of alien warships were fighting near the planet. Laser beams and missiles flew through space. Several ships exploded while the humans watched. "This is worse than the report said," Taemin whispered. "The planet below was covered in smoke and fire. 3 moons orbited around it, and they looked safer than the planet itself. That was where they would build their hospitals." "Send a message to both fleets," Hyun-woo ordered. "Tell them we are medical ships. We are here to help sick people. We will not take sides in their war." The communication officer sent the message. Both alien fleets stopped shooting at each other for a moment. Then they went back to fighting, but they did not attack the human ships. The first moon was rocky and cold. Taemin and his team landed there with their equipment. Within hours, they had built a large medical station. The second moon was covered in ice, and the third moon had a thin atmosphere but was safe enough for their work. Soon, sick and wounded aliens began arriving at all 3 medical stations. The Vorthak were large, reptile-like creatures with scales and sharp teeth. The Kalari looked like giant insects with many arms and big eyes. Both species were dying from the same terrible disease. Dr. Min-ho worked day and night to help the alien children. Many of them were scared and crying. He could not speak their languages, but he learned that a gentle touch and a kind smile meant the same thing to all children, no matter what planet they came from. "Dr. Park, come quickly," Sojin called over the radio. "We have found something important about this disease." Hyun-woo ran to the main laboratory on the first moon. Sojin and her team had been studying blood samples from both alien species. "This disease was made in a laboratory," she said. "Someone created it as a weapon, but there is good news. We can make a cure." "How long will it take?" Hyun-woo asked. 2 days, maybe 3. But we will need samples from both species to make sure the cure works for everyone. The next 3 days were the hardest of Hyun-woo's life. His team worked without sleeping to create the cure. Meanwhile, more sick aliens arrived every hour. Many died before they could be helped. On the third day, Dr. Minho ran into the laboratory. It works. The cure works. The children are getting better. Wu felt tears in his eyes. They had done it. They had saved thousands of lives. Over the next 2 weeks, the human medical teams gave the cure to both alien species. Vorthik and Kalari soldiers sat next to each other in the same hospitals, being healed by the same human doctors. The war continued in space, but on the moons there was peace. "I do not understand you humans," said a Vorthik general who had come to thank them. "Why do you help both sides?" "We are your enemies, friends," Haiyan Wu smiled. "We do not see enemies. In our hospitals, we only see people who need help. A sick child is just a sick child, no matter what species they are." The general looked confused but nodded with respect as Haiyan Wu watched alien children from both species playing together in the recovery ward. He felt proud of what they had accomplished. This was why humanity had become known across the galaxy as the greatest healers. They cared about all life, everywhere. He had no way of knowing that this kindness would soon become their greatest danger. 3 weeks had passed since the human medical teams arrived in the Kepler system. The cure was working better than anyone had hoped. Thousands of Vorthak and Kalari soldiers and civilians were getting healthy again. The war in space continued, but fewer people were dying from the terrible disease. General Krekstar of the Vorthak Empire stood on the bridge of his warship, watching the battle reports. His army was getting stronger every day because the humans had cured his sick soldiers. But this also meant his enemies were getting stronger too. "Sir, our spies report that the Kalari have recovered 70% of their forces," his aide reported. "The human cure has helped them as much as it helped us." Krekstar's eyes narrowed. He was a smart general who had won many battles. The humans had made it impossible for either side to win this war. "Get me a secure channel to the Kalari command ship." On the other side of the battlefield, Hive Queen Zakti received the secret message. She was the leader of all Kalari forces, and like Krekstar, she understood what the human medical help really meant. "You want to speak with me, Vorthak?" she said through the secret communication channel. Double quotes. "Yes, we need to discuss the human problem." "What human problem?" "They saved my people's lives." "That is exactly the problem," Krekstar said. "They saved your people and mine. Now neither of us can win." "The war will continue forever." Zakti was quiet for a moment. She had been thinking the same thing. "What do you suggest?" "A temporary ceasefire. Not between our armies, but between us and the humans. We eliminate their medical stations, and then we can finish our real war. You want to attack medical ships? That is against galactic law. Galactic law will not help us win this war. The humans have made victory impossible for both of us." Meanwhile, on the first moon, Dr. Haiyan Wu was checking on his patients. Commander Jae-Seung Yoon, the captain of their escort ship Sanctuary, was visiting the medical station. "Doctor, I am worried about something," Ja-Seung said. "Both alien fleets have stopped fighting each other for the past 2 days. They're just waiting." "Maybe they are tired of war," Haiyan Wu replied. "We have shown them that their people can live together peacefully. Look around you." Jae-Seung looked at the medical ward. Vorthak and Kalari patients were lying in beds next to each other. Some were even talking and sharing food. It was a beautiful sight, but something felt wrong. Dr. Jung Jahan was working in the children's ward on the second moon. She had become close to many of the alien children over the past few weeks. A young Vorthak girl named Skra had been very sick when she arrived, but now she was healthy and happy. "Dr. Yunji, will you stay here forever?" Skra asked in broken human language. "No, little one. When everyone is healthy, we will go home to Earth, but other human doctors will come if you need help again." "I wish you could stay. You are kind to us." Unji smiled and hugged the child. She did not know that this would be the last time she would see Skra alive on the third moon. Medic Donghayan Shin was training alien medical workers to use human healing technology. If the locals could treat their own people, the human teams could leave sooner and help other worlds. This machine can heal broken bones very quickly, he explained to a group of Kalari medics, but you must be careful with the power settings. The aliens were learning fast. They wanted to help their own people and were grateful for the human knowledge. Back in space, the secret meeting between Krekstar and Zakti continued. If we attack the humans, the galaxy will hate us, Zakti said. The galaxy already ignores this war. They will forget about a few dead humans quickly. But if we let the humans stay, this war will never end. My people will keep fighting your people forever. Millions more will die. So you suggest we kill hundreds of humans to save millions of our own people? Yes, it is a reasonable trade. Zakti thought about this. She did not like the idea of killing doctors, but her people had been fighting the Vorthik for generations. This war needed to end, and her side needed to win. Very well, but we attack together at the same time. If we are going to break galactic law, we share the blame. Agreed. Tomorrow, at 0800 Standard Time, we attack all 3 medical stations simultaneously. The next morning, Dr. Hyen-Woo woke up early as always. He checked the medical reports from all 3 moons. Everything looked normal. More patients were being released as healthy, and new ones were arriving for treatment. Commander Jae-sung was having breakfast with his crew when the first alarm sounded. Sir, multiple enemy ships approaching the first moon. Both Vorthik and Kalari forces. Jae-sung ran to the bridge of his escort ship. What he saw shocked him. Dozens of warships from both alien fleets were moving toward the medical stations. This makes no sense, his weapons officer said. They are working together. Send a message to all medical stations, Jae-sung ordered. Emergency evacuation. All staff to the escape pods immediately. On the first moon, Dr. Hyen-Woo received the warning just as the first missiles hit the medical station. The building shook and lights went out. Everyone out, now! He shouted, but there was no time. The second wave of missiles destroyed the main building completely. Dr. Hyen-Woo managed to send one last message before the explosion killed him. They are targeting our medical facilities? Civilian casualties in the thousands. Tell Earth. The children. Save the children. On the second moon, Dr. Yoonji heard the explosions from the first moon. She looked at the children in her care, both Vorthik and Kalari youngsters who trusted her to keep them safe. Doctor, we must leave, one of her nurses shouted. I will not abandon these children, Yoonji said firmly. The alien warships began bombing the second medical station. Dr. Yoonji held Skra and other children close as the building collapsed around them. They died together. Commander Jae-sung tried to fight back with his escort ship, but the sanctuary was designed to protect against pirates, not entire alien fleets. His ship was destroyed within minutes. Only medic Dong Hyen-shin managed to escape. He grabbed 22 other humans and hid them in underground caves on the third moon, just before the alien forces bombed that medical station 2. In 4 hours, it was over. The Vorthik and Kalari fleets returned to their war as if nothing had happened. 847 human medical workers were dead. Over 3,000 alien patients who had been under human care were also killed in the attacks. Dong Hyen and the 22 other survivors sent an emergency message to Earth using a hidden communication device. This is Medic Shin. The medical fleet has been destroyed. Both alien sides attacked us together. The hospitals are gone. Almost everyone is dead. They killed the patients too? They killed the children we were trying to save. The message took 3 days to reach Earth. When it arrived, everything changed. The news reached Earth 3 days after the massacre. When people learned that 847 human doctors and nurses had been murdered while trying to save alien children, the reaction was unlike anything in human history. Ambassador Woo Jin-ko was in his office at the Galactic Council building when the emergency report arrived. He read it 3 times before he could believe what had happened. Medical ships, protected by galactic law, had been deliberately destroyed by the very people they were trying to help. Get me an emergency session of the Galactic Council, he told his assistant, right now. Within hours, representatives from 47 different alien species gathered in the Great Council Chamber. Ambassador Ko stood at the speaking platform, holding the evidence of what had happened in the Kepler system. "Fellow council members," he began, "3 days ago, the Vorthek Empire and Kalari Swarm committed the worst war crime in galactic history. They worked together to destroy human medical stations that were treating their own sick people." He activated a holographic display showing the footage that medic Donghai and Shin had recorded. The council members watched in silence as alien warships bombed hospitals filled with their own children. 847 human medical workers died trying to save alien lives, Ko continued. Over 3,000 alien patients, including hundreds of children, were murdered while under our protection. The Zentarian representative, a tall blue-skinned alien, stood up. "Ambassador Ko, this is indeed terrible. But how do we know this? Footage is real. Wars create many false stories." Ko could not believe what he was hearing. "Are you suggesting we fake the deaths of our own people?" "I am suggesting we need more investigation before we act." The Zentarian replied. The Andromedan representative, who looked like a giant walking crystal, also spoke. "Perhaps this tragedy could be solved through diplomatic talks. Violence only creates more violence." Ko felt anger rising in his chest. "Diplomatic talks? They murdered doctors. They bombed children in hospital beds." The Silicon Lord representative made strange clicking sounds that translated as, "This appears to be a local system problem. The Galactic Council should not interfere." In regional conflicts, one by one, the alien representatives found excuses to avoid taking action. Some said they needed more evidence. Others claimed it was not their business. A few suggested that both sides probably made mistakes. Ko realized with growing horror that the galaxy was going to do nothing. These aliens were afraid of the Vorthek Empire and Kalari Swarm, so they would let the murder of human medical workers go unpunished. "You are all cowards," he said finally. "Human doctors died saving your children, and you will not even admit that a crime was committed." Meanwhile, on Earth, the reaction was very different. General Sung Ho Kwak of the Earth Defense Force was meeting with President Jinna Seo in the Capitol building. "Madam President, our people are demanding action," General Kwak said. "There are protests in every city. They want justice for the medical teams." President Seo looked tired and sad. She had known Dr. Heinwoo Park personally. He had saved her daughter's life during a plague outbreak years ago. "What are our options, General?" "That depends on what you are willing to reveal to the galaxy." President Seo raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" General Quack activated a secure holographic display. "For the past 100 years, Earth has been hiding our true military capabilities. While we became known as healers and peacekeepers, we were also developing the most advanced weapons technology in the galaxy." The display showed massive warships hidden in secret bases throughout human space. The ships looked nothing like the peaceful medical vessels that most aliens had seen. "We have been preparing for the day when someone would attack our peaceful missions," General Quack continued. "We hoped that day would never come, but we were ready for it." "How advanced are these weapons?" President Seo asked. "Our technology is at least 50 years ahead of anything else in the galaxy. We can destroy entire civilizations if necessary." Admiral Q-Hyan Beak entered the room carrying more classified files. "Madam President, I have been analyzing the military strength of the Vorthek Empire and Kalari Swarm. With our hidden fleet, we could eliminate both species completely within a month." President Seo walked to the window and looked out at the memorial services happening in the city below. Millions of humans were gathered to honor the fallen medical workers. Dr. Park's widow, Myung Park, was giving a speech that was being broadcast across the galaxy. Her words were simple but powerful. "My husband died trying to save alien children who were not even the same species as him. He believed that all life was precious. If the galaxy will not protect those who heal, then perhaps it is time they met those who can kill." The crowd cheered at these words, and similar cheers could be heard from cities across Earth. Ambassador KOS voice came through the communication system from the Galactic Council. Madam President, the Council has voted. They will take no action against the Vorthic Empire or Kalari Swarm. They claim there is insufficient evidence, despite the footage we provided. President SEO closed her eyes. She thought about Dr. Park and all the other medical workers who had died trying to help others. She thought about the alien children who had been murdered in their hospital beds. General Quack, how long would it take to prepare our hidden fleet for combat? The Reaper fleet has been ready for deployment for 20 years, Madam President. We just need your order. And you are certain we can win? Against the Vorthek and Kalari? Absolutely. They have never seen technology like ours. President SCO turned back to face the two military officers. Her expression had changed from sadness to something much harder. The galaxy has made its choice, she said. They will not protect our healers, so they will meet our Reapers instead. She walked to her desk and signed a document that had been prepared years ago but never used. It was called the Guardian Protocol, authorization to use Earth Hidden. Military fleet to protect human civilians and humanitarian missions. Admiral Beak, you will command the Reaper fleet, she said. Your mission is simple. Eliminate every member of the Vorthek Empire and Kalari Swarm. No survivors. No prisoners, no mercy. Understood, Madam President. General Quack, prepare a message for the Galactic Council. Tell them that since they will not bring justice to those who murdered our healers, Earth will deliver justice personally. Within hours, the hidden bases throughout human space began activating. Massive black warships that had been waiting in darkness for decades started their engines. The ships had names like Vengeance, Mercy's End, and Death's Reply. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's greatest strength was not their ability to heal, but their ability to choose between healing and destroying. The aliens had made that choice for them. The Reapers of Death were awakening, and they were very, very angry. 6 months had passed since the massacre of the human medical teams. The Vorthik Empire and Kalari Swarm had returned to their war, believing they had successfully removed the human interference. They were completely unprepared for what emerged. From the darkness of space, Fleet Admiral Chanwu Lim stood on the bridge of his flagship. The Death's Reply. Around him, 200 human warships moved through space like shadows. These were not the white hospital ships with red crosses that the galaxy knew. These ships were black as night, with medical symbols turned upside down into death's heads. Admiral, we are approaching the Vorthik home system, reported Captain Biora Jang from her stealth destroyer Vengeance. Their fleet is in standard defensive positions around their homeworld. Do they know we are here? Admiral Lim asked. No, sir. Our stealth technology is working perfectly. They cannot see us. Admiral Lim had been waiting for this moment for 6 months. He thought about Dr. Hyenwoo Park and the other medical workers who had died trying to save alien children. Today, those deaths would be answered. Weapons Specialist G.I. Jun-on, are the Mercy's End systems ready? Yes, Admiral. All ships are equipped with quantum displacement drives, nanoswarm weapons, temporal stasis fields, and consciousness disruptor arrays. These were weapons that the galaxy had never seen before. Humanity had spent a century developing technology in secret, preparing for a war they hoped would never come. Intelligence Officer Dejin Moon, what is the status of the Vorthik leadership? General, Krekstar is aboard his command ship in the center of their formation. All major Vorthak leaders are present in this system. Admiral Lim nodded. Perfect. Begin quantum displacement. Place us directly inside their formation. The human fleet vanished from where it was and instantly appeared in the middle of the Vorthik defensive line. The alien ships were suddenly surrounded by enemies they had not even known were coming. What sorcery is this? General Krekstar screamed on his bridge as human warships appeared from nowhere around his fleet. Before any Vorthak ship could react, Admiral Lim gave his order, fire everything. The battle lasted exactly 4 minutes and 23 seconds, the same amount of time it had taken the aliens to destroy the Compassion's light. The nanoswarm weapons hit the Vorthak ships first. Billions of tiny machines swarmed over the Alien vessels, taking them apart piece by piece at the molecular level. The aliens watched in horror as their mighty warships simply dissolved into space dust. Retreat. All ships retreat. General Krekstar ordered, but it was too late. The temporal stasis fields activated next, freezing dozens of Vorthak ships in time. They hung motionless in space while human weapons destroyed them at leisure. The consciousness disruptor arrays were the most terrifying weapons of all. They sent signals directly into the brains of the Vorthak crews, causing mass panic and madness. Alien soldiers turned on each other, driven insane by technology they could not understand. General Krekstar's flagship was the last ship left. He found himself alone on his bridge, his crew either dead or insane. Captain Biorod Jang's voice came through his communications system. General Krekstar, this is Captain Jang of Earth's Reaper Fleet. This is for Dr. Hyenwoo Park and the 846 other healers you murdered. Earth remembers every single one of them. Wait, Krekstar screamed. We can negotiate, we can make a deal? That the time for deals ended when you bombed our hospitals, Captain Jang replied coldly. The Vengeance fired a single quantum torpedo. General Krekstar and his flagship disappeared in a flash of light. The Vorthak Empire, which had ruled dozens of star systems for thousands of years, was completely destroyed in less than 5 minutes, but the human fleet was not finished. Set course for the Kalari Swarm homeworld, Admiral Lim ordered. Hive Queen Zakti is waiting for us. The Kalari Swarm was different from the Vorthak Empire. Instead of individual ships, they used their hive mind to control thousands of small vessels that worked together like a single organism, intelligence. Officer Dejin Moon had been studying their collective consciousness for months, looking for weaknesses. Admiral, I have developed a special program for the Kalari, she reported. Their hive mind is their greatest strength, but it can also become their greatest weakness. The human fleet arrived at the Kalari homeworld to find it protected by over 10,000 small ships, all controlled by Hive Queen Zakti's mind. It looked like an impossible battle. Deploy the consciousness virus, Admiral Lim ordered, officer. Moon activated her special weapon. It was not a physical attack, but a mental one. The virus spread through the Kalari hive mind network like a disease, but instead of making them sick, it made them turn against each other. Hive Queen Zakti felt the virus enter her mind and tried to fight it, but it was too late. The program began rewriting the commands she sent to her ships. Instead of working together, the Kalari vessels started attacking each other. What is happening? She screamed as her own ships began destroying themselves. The virus spread to the Kalari ground forces as well. Soldiers who had been perfectly coordinated minutes before were now fighting their own brothers and sisters. The hive mind that had made them strong was tearing them apart from the inside. Hive Queen Zakti realized that her own children were coming to kill her, driven mad by the human virus. She tried to cut the mental connections, but it was too late. Her palace guards burst into her throne room with murder in their eyes. "No, I am your queen. I created you," she cried, but her own children no longer recognized her voice. They tore her apart with their claws while she screamed. Within 3 weeks, both the Vorthak Empire and the Kalari Swarm were completely extinct. Every world they had controlled was now empty space. No prisoners had been taken. No mercy had been given. The galaxy watched in terror as 2 major civilizations simply vanished. The few alien observers who had witnessed the battles could barely describe what they had seen. The humans appeared from nothing, reported a Zentarian spy ship that had escaped the Vorthak system. Their weapons turned matter into dust. They could stop time itself. They drove entire armies insane with their minds. Admiral Lim stood on his bridge, looking at the empty space where the Kalari homeworld had been. His job was finished. Justice had been delivered for Dr. Park and all the other fallen healers. "Admiral, we are receiving a message from Earth." His communications officer reported. President SCO's face appeared on the main screen. "Admiral Lim, mission accomplished?" "Yes, Madam President. Both species have been completely eliminated. There are no survivors? Any human casualties?" "None, Madam President. We did not lose a single ship or crew member." President SEO nodded with satisfaction. Return to Earth, Admiral. It is time to show the galaxy what happens when they refuse to protect our healers. As the Reaper fleet began its journey home, Admiral Lim thought about the medical workers who had died 6 months ago. They had been gentle people who wanted only to help others. Now their deaths had been avenged in the most complete way possible. The galaxy would never again make the mistake of attacking Earth's healers. The Reapers of Death had made sure of that. 1 year had passed since the Reaper campaign ended. The galaxy was still trying to understand what had happened. 2 powerful civilizations had been completely destroyed in 3 weeks by a species that everyone thought was peaceful, the Galactic Council building was quieter now. Many species that had refused to help humanity were now afraid that Earth might decide they were also enemies. Ambassador Wu Jin Ko walked through the halls where he had once begged for justice, but now the other ambassadors stepped aside when they saw him coming. Dr. Haijin Ru stood at the same speaking platform where Ko had presented evidence of the massacre 1 year ago. She was the new head of Earth's medical corps, chosen to replace Dr. Hyun-Woo Park and the other fallen healers. Fellow council members, she began, Earth has a new offer for the galaxy. The alien representatives listened nervously. Everyone remembered what had happened to the last species that had crossed humanity. We will continue to provide medical aid to any world that requests it, Dr. Ru continued. Our hospital ships will heal your sick, feed your hungry, and protect your refugees. We will do this without payment and without questions, just as we always have. The council members looked confused. This sounded like the same peaceful offer that humanity had always made. However, Dr. Ru said, and the room became very quiet, any species that attacks our medical personnel, threatens our humanitarian missions, or harms those under our protection will face the Reapers of Death. She activated a holographic display, showing the black warships that had destroyed the Vorthek and Kalari. We have proven that we can eliminate entire civilizations. We prefer to save them. The choice is yours. Marshal Sang-min-oh stepped forward. He was the joint commander of Earth's new Guardian forces, a combination of medical ships and military escorts. A Guardian protocol is now in effect, he announced. Every human medical mission will be protected by quantum displacement beacons. If our healers are attacked, our Reapers can arrive within minutes. Diplomat Yu Na Shin, Earth's new aggressive negotiator, added the final part of humanity's ultimatum. The galaxy had its chance to protect medical workers through law and diplomacy. You chose to do nothing? Now Earth's protection comes through superior firepower. The Zentarian representative, the same one who had demanded more evidence during the original massacre, raised his hand nervously. Ambassador Ru, what if there is an accident? What if medical workers are hurt by mistake during a conflict? Dr. Ru's expression did not change. Accidents happen, deliberate attacks do not. We can tell the difference. But how do we know you will not attack innocent species? Asked the Andromedan representative. The same way you knew we would not attack anyone before the Vorthek and Kalari murdered our healers, Dr. Ru replied. You have our word just as you always did. The difference is that now you also have proof of what happens when our word is not respected. Over the following months, the Guardian Protocol became the most important law in galactic politics. Medical vessels from Earth traveled with both healing equipment and quantum displacement beacons that could summon the Reaper fleet instantly. The first test came when a group of space pirates attacked a human medical ship that was bringing supplies to a refugee camp. The pirates thought they could steal the medical supplies and sell them. They were wrong, Captain. Biora Jang's destroyer Vengeance appeared within 30 seconds of the distress call. The pirate ships were destroyed so quickly that nearby observers thought they had simply vanished. The medical ship continued its mission without even slowing down. Word of the incident spread throughout the galaxy within hours. Pirates, warlords, and aggressive governments all received the same message. Human medical workers were not to be touched. 6 months later, Dr. Ru was visiting a medical station on the frontier world of Kepler 442b. It was the same type of humanitarian mission that Dr. Park had been leading when he was killed. But this time, things were different. The 23 survivors of the original massacre were now senior staff members on the new medical missions. Medic Donghayan Shin had become a trauma specialist, and his experience hiding in caves while his friends were murdered had made him very good at preparing for emergencies. Dr. Ru, we have treated over 50,000 patients this year, he reported. Not a single medical worker has been attacked. The beacons are working, Dr. Ru replied, looking at the quantum displacement device mounted on the medical station's roof. Everyone knows that an attack on us means the Reapers come calling. As they walked through the medical wards, Dr. Ru saw alien patients from dozens of different species being treated side by side. It looked very much like the hospitals that Dr. Park had established, except for one important difference. There was a holographic display in every room, showing the black ships of the Reaper fleet. Is it necessary to remind our patients about the military threat? Dr. Ru asked. We have found that it prevents problems before they start, Dong Hyan replied. When people see those ships, they remember what happened to species that attacked human healers. That evening, Earth President Jina SCO held a memorial ceremony in the capital. It had become an annual tradition to read the names of all 847 medical workers who had died in the Kepler system massacre. Dr. Hyan-woo Park, the president began, and the crowd of millions responded. We remember. Nurse Captain Sojin Kim. We remember. Dr. Yoonji Han. We remember. The ceremony continued for over an hour as each name was read. When it was finished, President SCO delivered the same speech she gave every year. We learned that in this galaxy, there are those who would kill angels simply for offering mercy. So we taught them that for every angel they murder, we can send 1,000 demons. The choice between receiving our healers or our reapers will always be theirs to make. In the years since the Guardian Protocol had been established, human medical teams had saved over 2 million alien lives. Not a single human medical worker had been attacked. The galaxy had learned its lesson. New medical ships were launching from Earth every month, each one bearing the traditional medical symbol on its hull. But now, next to that symbol, there was always a small inscription in multiple languages, protected by the Reapers of Death. Dr. Ru watched the newest medical ship, the Compassion's Light 2, depart for a humanitarian mission in the Andromeda sector. It carried the same name as Dr. Park's destroyed ship, and it would continue his work of healing the galaxy. In the cargo hold of the ship, a quantum displacement beacon waited silently. The beacon was connected to Admiral Chanwu Lim's Reaper fleet, which remained on constant alert in Earth's hidden military bases. The message was clear to everyone in the galaxy. Humanity would continue to offer healing to all who needed it. But they would never again allow their healers to be murdered while the galaxy watched and did nothing. The choice between angels and demons would always belong to those who received humanity's help. So far, everyone was choosing angels. The Reapers of Death preferred it that way. But they remained ready, always watching, always prepared to deliver justice to anyone foolish enough to attack Earth's healers again. Peace through superior firepower had become humanity's new diplomatic policy. And it was working perfectly.